What if the greatest victory in history was won in total silence? We've all heard the familiar story of the cross and the resurrection, but we often ignore the 72-hour countdown that actually reshaped the cosmos. While the world saw a failed Messiah in a cold grave, the depths of the dead were witnessing a revolution. This wasn't just a day of waiting. It was a tactical strike against the darkness. Behind that stone, the universe held its breath, not in defeat, but in anticipation of a raid that would change reality forever. It is 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. The heavy, suffocating air of Golgotha begins to settle as the final echo of a king's voice fades into the wind. The crowds have retreated, the soldiers stand weary, and on a barren wooden cross, the physical life of Jesus of Nazareth has ended. To the world, this is a moment of total finality, a tragedy, a finished sentence. Two men emerge from the shadows of the ruling council, Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus. They move with a quiet, desperate reverence that defies the Roman steel surrounding them. As they remove the nails, the sound of metal against wood rings out like a heartbeat of grief. They lower the body carefully, wrapping it in clean linen and fragrant spices, myrrh and aloes that fill the stagnant air. They lay him in a new tomb, carved deep into the limestone. A massive stone is rolled across the entrance, sealing the darkness inside. To the religious authorities, this is the end of a threat. To the disciples, it is the death of a dream. But to the heavens, it is the commencement of a precise, celestial tactical plan. For nearly 2,000 years, a question has lingered in the minds of skeptics and believers alike. How? How do we reconcile a Friday burial and a Sunday morning with the prophecy of 3 days and 3 nights? This apparent paradox has fueled endless debate, yet the answer lies in the meticulous clockwork of the divine. In the ancient Jewish world, time was measured differently. Even a fragment of a day was counted as a whole. Yet many scholars point to a deeper mystery, a year where a high Sabbath and a weekly Sabbath fell back to back, creating a perfect window of 72 hours. Whether through the traditional Friday or a calculated Wednesday, the message remains the same. This was no accidental tragedy. It was a calculated descent. We are witnessing the start of a countdown that would reshape the cosmos. 72 hours where life appeared to be extinguished. 72 hours of absolute terrifying silence. While the world mourned a dead Messiah, the Messiah was preparing to dismantle the foundations of death itself. The stone was not moved to let him out. It was moved to show the world that the countdown had reached zero. The silence of Friday is not the absence of God. It is the indrawing of a breath before the greatest shout in history. Underneath the cold stone, beyond human sight, the gears of eternity are turning. The world believes it is over. The universe knows it has only just begun. Saturday dawns, and with it comes a silence so heavy it feels like a physical weight. It is the longest day in history. No miracles are recorded, no sermons are preached, no crowds gather to cheer or condemn. There is only the stillness of the tomb, a day where the world believes that God has finally gone quiet. In a locked upper room, the disciples sit in the shadows. Their Messiah is gone. Their dreams are buried behind a 2-ton stone. To them, this silence isn't just a lack of sound. It is the sound of a promise being broken. They are paralyzed by a grief that feels final, a despair that tells them the story has reached its end. This is what we call a liminal space. It is the threshold between the no longer and the not yet. You have left the shore of everything you knew, but you cannot yet see the land of what is to come. It is a state of total dissolution, and it is the most terrifying place a human soul can inhabit. We see the same pattern throughout all of creation. A seed must crack open and rot in the cold, dark earth before it can even dream of becoming a tree. A caterpillar doesn't just grow wings inside its cocoon, it completely dissolves into a liquid state before it is reconstructed into something new. This is why we fear the silence of God in our own lives, because in the quiet, we are forced to confront the emptiness of our own faith. When the miracles stop, when the voice of the divine goes silent, our doubts begin to scream. We feel invisible. We feel abandoned. We mistake the darkness of the womb for the darkness of the tomb. But look closer at that silent Saturday. It is not an empty day. It is a day of intense, hidden preparation. Just as the Earth is quiet before tectonic shift, the universe is holding its breath. The old world is fading away, and the new world is gathering its strength in the shadows. Mary stands in the garden, her heart a hollow void, staring at a stone that refused to move. She does not yet realize that the threshold of dissolution is always the birthplace of the eternal. She does not know that the silence she fears is actually the universe's way of making room for a shout that will shake the foundations of death itself. Beyond the stone, beyond the reach of human eyes, the greatest expedition in history is underway. While the world mourns a fallen teacher, the spirit realm is witnessing the arrival of a king. He is not descending as a victim of death. He is invading as its conqueror. To the Roman guards, he is a cold corpse. To the disciples, he is a lost hope. But to the abyss, he is a radiant force that cannot be contained. He passes through Sheol, the shadowy realm of waiting. Here the righteous, Adam, Abraham, Moses, have waited for centuries. They feel a tremor in the foundations of the earth. They sense a change in the atmosphere. The long night is ending. But he descends deeper still, into the heart of the void, into the depths of Tartarus. This is the abyss of absolute darkness, the fortress where the most ancient shadows have hidden since the dawn of time. Here the air is thick with the weight of every lie ever told, every sin ever committed, and every chain ever forged. The darkness here is not just an absence of light, it is a malice that believes it has finally won. The dark forces prepare for a battle. They expect a clash of steel, a storm of fire, a violent struggle for power. They prepare to resist a warrior. Instead, they are met by the truth. Christ carries no sword. He wears no armor. He does not shout. He simply is. And in that presence, the foundations of the abyss begin to melt. There is no violent struggle because darkness cannot fight the sun. It can only vanish. His weapon is his very nature, the unshakable, blinding reality of the living God. As he steps into the center of the void, the ancient claims of the enemy are incinerated. The lies dissolve. The shadows retreat into nothingness. The silence of Tartarus is shattered not by the sound of war, but by the sound of breaking chains. He stands in the middle of the dead, and for the first time in history, the dead begin to live. He is reclaiming creation from the inside out. He is walking through the corridors of the afterlife, unlocking every door, tearing down every wall, and proving that no darkness is unreachable. This is the secret of the silent Saturday. While the earth is still, the depths are in a state of holy revolution. The gates of bronze are broken. The bars of iron are cut asunder. The Messiah is not just waiting for Sunday morning. He is actively dismantling the architecture of despair. He is turning the prison of the grave into a gateway for the soul. The king has entered the fortress of the enemy, and he is not leaving until every captive is free. It is just before dawn on Sunday. The earth begins to tremble again, but this time the tremor starts from within. Outside the tomb, 16 elite Roman soldiers stand guard. These are the finest warriors of the age, men trained to kill without hesitation, forming an iron wall around a silent grave. On the center of the massive stone lies the Roman seal. It is more than just a piece of wax. It represents the absolute authority of Caesar. To break this seal is to invite the total wrath of the empire. It is a human attempt to lock the supernatural behind a door of political power, to keep the truth buried under the weight of worldly law. But as a radiant light begins to bleed through the edges of the rock, we realize that human authority is nothing but a shadow. The stone does not roll away because of a lever or a crane. It moves because the very laws of physics are being rewritten from the inside out. Inside the darkness, an impossible transformation occurs. The mortal body of Jesus does not simply wake up, it transmutates. Modern science suggests that the image left on the sacred shroud required a burst of energy so immense it defies our understanding. Billions of watts of light released in a mere fraction of a second. The flesh becomes immortal. The wounds that once bled with the agony of the cross now shine with the brilliance of a new creation. Gravity has no authority here. The linen cloths fall away, folded and intact, as the risen Christ passes through matter itself. The elite guards, hardened by 100 battles, collapse like dead men. Their weapons, their training, and the empire they serve are rendered utterly powerless in a single moment. The message of the empty tomb is unmistakable. You can bury the truth. You can seal the grave. You can guard it with an army. But when the light of the eternal breaks through, every human seal is torn into shreds. The stone is cast aside like a pebble, and the king steps out into the rising sun. We stand today in the year 2026. To many, the world feels more like that silent Saturday than we care to admit. We are surrounded by a constant digital roar, yet we feel a profound spiritual absence. We face shifting foundations, the rise of new shadows, and a deep, aching uncertainty about what lies ahead. For many of you watching this, you are living in your own Holy Saturday. You have prayed, you have worked, and you have hoped, but the stone has still not moved. The heavens seem closed. The miracles feel like echoes from a distant past. Like the disciples hiding behind locked doors, you are tempted to believe that the darkness has won. But the mystery of the tomb teaches us a different truth. Do not judge the power of the eternal by the frantic rhythm of a newsfeed or the chaos in the streets. Transformation is not always a spectacle. It is often hidden, silent, and subterranean. In the coldest, darkest depths of your struggle, a resurrection is being prepared. If the king could descend into the very heart of the abyss to reclaim all of creation, then no part of your life is unreachable. No valley is too deep. No silence is too long. No wound is beyond his touch. When you feel that God is quiet, remember that he is never more active than in the stillness. Do not mistake the darkness of the womb for the darkness of the tomb. If you are currently in the middle of your longest day, stand firm. The dawn is not just a hope, it is a promise that has already been kept. If you are standing in the silence of your own Saturday, do not let go. The light is coming. Leave a comment below. A single word of hope, a promise to stay until the dawn breaks. Stand firm. Watch. Believe. The stone has moved and nothing will ever be the same.